I want to ask you about the policies we're seeing here in Australia. The Australian government is pushing ahead with this electric vehicle obsession. The population is largely disinterested. Despite the hype, EV sales are a tiny number, and yet the Labor government is launching a new strategy to limit fuel emissions on new cars. We've seen just millions, billions of dollars pumped into EVs, all sorts of taxpayers' subsidies. And yet, Alex, if they were actually successful in getting more of us into EVs, what would be the impact on the grid, for example?
There's so much wrong with this, and this is happening in the U.S. right now. So Biden just announced in the U.S. these kind of emissions regulations, but they're intended to be EV mandates. And basically, despite the fact that they're stealing all our money to subsidize people's EVs, that hasn't worked well enough in their view. So now they need to force it by making these emissions mandates, which are just designed to get huge percentages of EVs. And I heard somebody had the gall in the Australian story to say, oh, we're saving you money. Oh, thank you so much for saving me money by forcing me to do something that I don't want to do. I think it's pretty easy for me to calculate how cost effective a car is. And so part of it is people aren't buying EVs in mass because of the costs. But then there's also, as you indicated, the grid issues. We are radically increasing the demand for reliable electricity and radically decreasing the supply, both in Australia and in the US. So I've used this before, but Gavin Newsom, where I live in California, he declared an end to the internal combustion engine, and 5 days later said, don't charge your EVs or run your air conditioners for that matter, because it's too hot and we didn't produce enough electricity. So it's really shameful. I have an in-depth story if people are interested at my website, alexepstein.substack.com. I just have a Substack there that goes into this. Australia and America just seem to want to make all the mistakes of Europe and actually double down on them.